Oh, have you got an area of life that isn't working? Something that's bugging you, something that you wish you had, but you're busy working on other kinds of things? Well, if you've got something that you want, and yet it's not one of the primary core things, or even maybe it is, but I find this is true a lot. I noticed I was like that. I had something like that. I'm going to share with you what worked for me. It's a really old tool or technique to use. Hi, everyone. My name is Bill Gallagher, scaling coach, host of the Scaling Up Business podcast. We cover everything to do with scaling, growing your business, and developing yourself as a leader of a growing business. People, strategy, execution, cash, hundreds and hundreds of episodes and more, show notes, tools, special offers, all that kind of thing, and more at scalingcoach.com. or wherever you get your podcast or video content. So scalingcoach.com, go find all that there. Search for it for something that you're dealing with. So anyway, back to this thing. I noticed years ago, I was tracking and growing my business. I was working in certain aspects of my life. I was having fun. I was doing good things. And yet my fitness was really lagging. It was an area that just was not a winning area for me. Anyway, I decided to take it on. And the method that I applied to it, I first learned actually, or heard Zig Ziglar talking about many years ago. He may have been the inventor. I'm not sure. I've tried to research this extensively because I've heard it in different realms. But it's called the Be, Do, Have formula. And you can play with this and reproduce it. I find it really useful and reproducible, and I will go back to it from time to time. So Be, Do, Have says this. There are things in life that we've just got backwards. We think that when we have certain things, that then we'll do certain things and finally we'll be some certain way. So if I have a lot of time and a great body and all that kind of thing, then I'll do really active things. And then I'll be awesome and proud and active and out there in the world, and I'll be great, right? We think if we have millions and millions of dollars, then we'll finally travel and live well and pursue interesting things and be fulfilled and powerful, right? And creative and generous. The thing is, we've got it all wrong. If you actually want to achieve something in some of these areas that aren't firing, it's actually the reverse of that makes a difference. If you'd figure out who you'd be at the end of that, and then what you do and what you'd be left with, if you reverse it, you'll discover something interesting. Around my fitness, I thought that I would have a great body, but I really had a lot of excess weight. I really had a lot of things to do. I really was avoiding my fitness in the world of doing. I was not working out. I was paying someone to not show up. I had a personal trainer, a special gym membership, that kind of thing. And if I am honest about it, at that point, who I was being about my health and fitness was resigned. I was being more of a person who felt like it was not who I was meant to be, right? So I flipped that around and I said, well, if I had the genetics, if I was doing the things that I would want, what are all the things? And I wrote down a whole bunch of words. Among them was active, alive, and inspired. So active is not the same as doing certain things like running or, outdoor sports or whatever like that. It is the quality behind all that, the character trait, the quality of being. So active, alive, and inspired was among probably 10 or 12 words that I wrote down. But I looked at the words that I wrote down that I would be if everything was going perfect and I was doing all the things I wanted to do in the area of my health and my fitness. And I realized those were words that I both really hungered for. I desperately wanted to be active, alive, and inspired. And I realized those were available to me no matter what fitness level or activities that I was currently doing. So I committed myself I embraced being active, alive, and inspired. I started to think about what I could do. I came up with, so now I've gone from being to doing, I came up with doing a triathlon. Now, at the time, I didn't really know what a triathlon was. I hadn't done one yet. I had a vague notion of it being a multi-sport thing. It just sounded really awesome, and it sounded a little more fun than a marathon, which is where I got the idea. I heard a woman who looked less fit than me talking about running a marathon. I thought, that's cool, but I should do something cooler. And so I came up with doing my first triathlon. I registered myself. I told people I was doing it. I committed to it. I started figuring out what it was. I started training for it, learning how to swim properly anyway, and starting to run and all that kind of thing. At the time, I could run around the block. I went on to do about 45 triathlons and marathons over the next 10, 11 years. I dramatically changed my fitness, my view of myself, and that kind of thing as a result of that thing. I got a different body. I had different feelings and different results as a result of all of that, but it came from flipping it around. Instead of thinking that I needed to be the sort of person with a different kind of DNA, born with different gifts, I flipped it all around. I figured out what actually inspired me. I started being a different way. I started doing different things, and then I ended up with different results. This can apply in every area of our leadership, in every area of our life. And if you apply it to your leadership, it can have an impact on your business and whatever you're trying to scale. So be, do, have. Check it out. You can read more about it. You'll find lots of references to it, as I did, trying to figure out who the original source of that was. But I hope that's helpful for you. And we'll talk to you again next time. Thanks again. Keep scaling up.